All right, I am recording. I should be recording. I just beat Wally. I had two blunders. Let's analyze the game. It starts out totally Sicilian because, oh, look, so I had the advantage for most of the game and then I almost blew it twice. Oh my gosh. I think. I think I almost blew it twice. So those would have been two blunders. And I had five great moves. Wow, let's see what they are. They probably are just all in the end game. So it starts out Sicilian. Boom, boom, boom. You know, a lot of times I would move my pawn to d3. So go d2, d3. But I kind of wanted to keep that open for the bishop to fall back to e2 because a lot of times what he does is he pins that knight. He moves his bishop down to g4. Man, I wish I could. Can I annotate on this? Of course not, but that's okay. That'd be way better. Anyway, yeah, a lot of times he moves his bishop, pinning my knight on the king's side. So anyway, so okay, so now, yep, so now his bishop would have access to move, all right there. And so I said I didn't want to move my pawn on d2 to d3 yet because I want to keep this open so that I can do that, even though, guess what? It turns out it's not the best or whatever. It turns out that it decreased my probability of winning. So it thinks that, oh, you go here would have been best. Anyway, let's continue. So something weird on their part. Let's see. Something weird on my part, supposedly. I just wanted to protect that pawn more. A4 is best. I think I get there in just a little bit. So now I wanted to bother him and pin his knight. All right, there it is, finally. The best move. Yeah, why didn't I move from C2 to C3? I felt like I had a reason for that. Um, I guess my knight wouldn't. It would have been trapped, but we would have been able to have an exchange. But anyway, I suspected that his bishop wanted to. Well, actually, I was thinking that I wanted to take this bishop off the board because my knight. I wanted to exchange pieces here with my knight. So yeah, because usually what ends up happening when I play Wally is like the king side gets overloaded, and then I just have a knight that I don't know what to do with, and his bishop on this queen side is able to still attack all the way over to the right side of the board. So anyway, so yeah, they moved back, and I knew that I wanted to keep coming. And then I knew, okay, there. And then I was like, finally, I can capture. Forcing your pawns to double their pawns helps create a weakness. Exactly. So now I knew that I could create a weird pawn structure on the queen side. However, now my rook is kind of pinned on a1 because I have to protect that pawn on a3. So I definitely did not want their knight to take on b4, and then yeah, would have opened up the anyway. Let's see what happens. So okay, they start coming after my bishop. Obviously, I'm going to fall back. If they attack again, I feel like that's a bad move. And sure enough, analysis agrees with me because they are kind of starting to overextend on the king side, and obviously I can just fall back. Even though, oh, they say no, don't do that. Why not? Well, it was a great move, and it was very hard to find, it says. So let's move it back. So yes, this was the position. They hit me with this. Now instead of doing the bishop, we're going to move to the knight. The knight took, and then the pawn took. Man, this is a long sequence. Okay, and then what do you suppose is going to happen? So they... I mean, I definitely do like getting this king side opened up and undefended. But anyway, that would have been the position, I guess. Now their king is naked. So that's all it really shows me. Anyway, let's. So instead of doing that, bishop retreats. Their pawn moves forward. I move my pawn forward. I don't remember what I was even thinking here. Other than I guess I knew that that was a strong square for me because the queen was also defending it, and I kind of I kind of didn't like this pawn structure on a3 because, like I said, my rook is now going to have to stay there forever to protect that as long as their rook continues to attack. So we have a face-off. So I was like, well, I'm going to force this, and either I'll be able to get my pawn all the way to a5, which is good for me, or it'll be takes, takes, and then we'll see what happens. So, yes, supposedly the best move would have been to move forward. Anyway, we'll continue. Boom, boom. So white still has a slight advantage here. Let's see. C1 is an inaccuracy, they say, where rook to e1 would have been better. Whatever. What I'm thinking here is if I can move my knight, if I can move my knight, this would be kind of a aggressive. If I move my knight to g5 to capture that black pawn, then their pawn takes back, and then I can move my queen directly to do right in front of the king, and then the king would have to retreat, and then I could take that black knight on f6. That's what I was looking at, but they found it because they had a great move that would allow this knight to stop the check attack from my queen by moving in front of the king. So that was, too bad, so sad. So then I didn't know what I was going to do. I had to think. I had to think a lot. So let's see. We keep playing here. I really wanted to move. I really wanted to weaken. This is okay. I remember now. I really wanted to weaken their pawn structure on e5. So I wanted to start attacking on the queen side, but I needed to protect this white pawn on e4. So I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to find a good way to do that. So there I start attacking, right, with my pawn like I wanted to, and then of course my e4 pawn is still protected because it's being attacked by two of their pieces, and I'm protecting it with two of mine. Okay. So it doesn't like that. It thinks that rook to d1 is best. Let's see what would have happened there. Their queen comes over, and I don't know. Anyway, so that's this move hurts my chances supposedly. Oh, because what would have happened? That goes there. I go here. I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. So I take, they take back. Now that pawn is a lot weaker because there's no, right? So their black pawn on e5 is a lot weaker because it does not have a pawn protecting it. So I was like, okay, now I'm attacking it. Let's see what happens. So I want to keep protecting my white pawn from being taken by their knight. I'm thinking I want to kind of reset things and move my knight back to where it was. I'm resetting up the attack from a few minutes ago. And I'm getting ready to continue to protect that pawn, my white pawn on e5. 4. All right, big blunder from them. Let's see what happens. We have a great move here, and the reason is because what I noticed was, okay, everything is about attacking this black pawn on e5, and so I'm attacking with my knight and with my bishop, and meanwhile, black is protecting it with one of their knights and the queen. And so I was like, well, if I can get the queen to flee, which of course she's going to, and then if I can take that rook, which of course I'm going to, then black has to recapture, and so now I can win a pawn in the middle of the board. So that's what I did. And I had to think which way I wanted to capture this with. Apparently it was a massive blunder. So why? What would have happened? Let's see. So if it would have been with my knight, then they would have captured back, and then it would have been bishop. I don't know. So apparently it was a big blunder. And this is way better for white. But so I didn't do that. So instead we did that. We ended up here with this knight taking, which I felt all right about this because I could just move my knight back to f3 for one thing, and then go back to that attack that I was looking at this entire time, where maybe the knight attacks the pawns and the queen is... Anyway, let's keep going. So c7 was played. I love it when they say that when they're analyzed. So yep, I just moved my knight back, just like I was kind of thinking. Okay, this is apparently a big problem for them. So, best move, I found it. Their knight is coming, and then it's threatening checkmate at this point. Which, right, I mean, isn't that a mate? No, it's not, because, never mind. So, yeah, I thought I had to move my pawn forward because I thought the queen was coming to h2. But I'm protecting that, so, you know, I guess I blew that one. Oh my gosh. All right, they move forward. Oh my gosh, I keep giving back my advantage. What would have happened? Otherwise, it could have been this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and... I guess at that point, that's... Oh, we still have more. So we have a passed pawn. Yeah, that's pretty good. If anyway, that was all the hypotheticals. So I moved my pawn up. They moved their pawn up. I captured because I decided that the queen is going to recapture right there, I guess. And then I could just have my bishop and pawn be forever self-sustaining. Maybe not forever, but I thought, well, that doesn't give them a lot of moves. Obviously, they are attacking on f2. But I was like, well, I can defend that. So I want to keep defending that. Right now, I move into a better position. We have the knight moves. And I decided since I was up 2 pieces, I was just going to takes and exchange. And then I thought right here, this would give me a good chance to move my bishop into a better square, which I eventually want to get it to d5. So this is what I do. So now it's has a better scope where it's sort of attacking the king. All right, they take. I take. They say that's not good. Say check is better. All right, what would happen if I did a check instead? Let's see. So we go check, they move, and then it takes. Okay. Anyway, I takes, because now I'm just kind of looking, and I'm like, well, I'm up 2 pawns, and I like my pawn structure because it gives my king a place to hide. And we'll see. But so anyway, they obviously stopped me from attacking here. And this is where I actually lose a pawn, I believe. And so I decided, well, I'm going to force this issue. There's their free pawn that they can take. Oh, that's a big blunder. I ignored a way better move. So apparently taking it would have been great, and I would have been able to obviously take their pawn off the board. But I didn't do that, so yeah, maybe that was stupid. But I thought, well, I'll have a nice pawn structure. And I felt like we'll see what happens. They have two isolated pawns. All of mine are going to work together. And also, my king is going to have some protection here. So we'll see what happens. I was like, well, I can slide him over onto the side here, but it gets really tricky. You don't want to get checkmated. So I was like, oh. Apparently that's the best move. But of course, that does create a big checkmate threat right there, right? So, yeah, I suppose that would have been a better move anyway. So then right here, I thought, well, I could exchange queens, and the race to the black pawn, my king would win. Oh, so it's a huge blunder. But I thought, yeah, okay, I could race. Apparently they gave me the game back right there. Great move. Big blunder. Great move. I really want to control the F3 square and force them back. Alright, so now I kind of have control of things here. Big problem for them. Great move for me. Another great move. Another great move. And at that point, I was like, oh, they're not. He's not going to be able to capture any more pawns here. I don't think, because I could move that one forward, right? That probably would have been better. Actually, no, never mind. So I take, he takes, but then I'm like, well, my king is going to control all the squares in front of this pawn from this point forward. And then there we go, blah 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 blah, and that's how I beat Wally for the second time.